After years of waiting, the long simmering tension between Rasheeda Frost and Jasmine finally burst in a dramatic showdown on the highly anticipated season 13 premiere of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This episode was the turning point for Rasheeda, who decided she had had enough of taking matters into her own hands. The relationship between Rasheeda and her husband, Kirk Frost, has been at the heart of a lot of the drama on the show, and Jasmine's involvement, which added fuel to an already blazing fire, was the reason for this. And addressing Jasmine in a manner that was unexpected, Jasmine's role in Rasheeda and Kirk's marriage has been a constant source of conflict throughout the series. Her attempts to rekindle her relationship with Kirk were well known, and despite the harm she had previously caused to their marriage, she continued to push boundaries. At the beginning of season 13, Jasmine was back at it again, this time attempting to have sex with Kirk, despite the fact that her prior attempts had already caused a great deal of strife. Jasmine was more than simply a bothersome person since she wouldn't let go of Kirk. Rashida had always tried to take the high road, to stay focused on her businesses, her children, and her marriage. She had weathered many storms, and for the most part, she had handled everything with grace. However, as much as she wanted to avoid conflict, Jasmine's constant disrespect became too much for her to ignore. Her actions threatened everything Rasheeda had worked so hard to build. When Rasheeda's patience ran out in the face of this ongoing drama, she finally realized that she needed to confront the issue head-on and wasn't going to remain passive, while Jasmine attempted to destroy everything she had worked so hard for. Rasheeda didn't take her decision to confront Jasmine lightly. She had always been a strong and resilient woman, but even she had her breaking point, and the episode made it clear that she wasn't going to back down anytime soon. The time for silence was ended when I met Jasmine head-on. The conflict between Rasheeda and Jasmine was nothing short of explosive. The moment the two women faced each other, the tension was evident. This wasn't just a disagreement or a small argument. It was an emotional clash that had been developing for years. Rasheeda was going to take charge of her story and put an end to the chaos that Jasmine had been causing for years. Rasheeda was finally letting all of her rage out after trying so hard to keep her cool.
So the agreement was that you get canon the third weekend every month. Do you do that?
No, we didn't really agree to that because the last
signed on paper. This is what I just say. It's not gonna ever be. But I get that now. Gonna never, ever, ever have to question or worry about is that boy getting the love and the same treatment the kid when he's around. Always been concerned, and I've always loved him since the first day I heard from you. You don't have to hear from me because Cannon knows what's up. I understand why it's a little weird now, but you know it's not weird. So it's now all of a sudden. I've always been there since I decided to forgive you. If I forgave, I got to take everything that comes with it, and that's it. Y'all figure some out so we can get this boy on.
She was fed up with Jasmine's disrespectful actions, fed up with her attempts to sabotage her relationship with Kirk, and fed up with the way Jasmine had consistently ruined her marriage. Rasheeda didn't hold back when she called out Jasmine for her repeated attempts to destroy her family and made it clear that she wouldn't put up with it any longer. Jasmine made a valiant attempt to justify her behavior, but Rasheeda wasn't having it. There was no room for justifications at that point. Her words were razor sharp and had the force to leave no room for doubt. Rasheeda was done allowing Jasmine to get away with it. The argument swiftly escalated with emotions running high and both women exchanging heated words, but as it went on, it became clear that this wasn't just about the drama between the two of them. For years, Rashida had been the one trying to keep the peace and rise above the chaos. But this time, she wasn't going to let anyone, not even Jasmine, dictate the course. This kind of manipulative behavior wasn't just about Kirk anymore. It was about Rashida regaining control of her life and demonstrating to Jasmine that she couldn't continue to disturb her peace. Rashida became more resolute as the heated exchange went on. She wasn't just defending her marriage, she was defending herself. She had worked for years on her business, her family, and her personal development, and Jasmine wasn't going to take that away from her. The confrontation wasn't just about defending Kirk or their marriage. It was also about Rashida asserting her identity as a woman who wouldn't let anyone walk over her for the first time in a long time. Rashida wasn't afraid to stand up for herself. As the confrontation reached its climax, it became evident that Rashida had won. She had finally taken control of her narrative and demonstrated to Jasmine that, despite her best efforts, she would not be able to destroy Rashida's family. While this may not have been the end of the drama between Rashida and Jasmine, it was unquestionably a turning point. Rashida had demonstrated that she wasn't going to allow anyone, not even Jasmine, to stand in the way of the peace she had taken over. The circumstance by taking back her authority in her honor, and Rashida demonstrated to the world how strong, resilient, and unrepentant she is at that instant. As the show drew to an end, fans were left wondering what would happen to Rashida, Kirk, and Jasmine. But one thing was for sure, Rashida had demonstrated that she wouldn't allow anyone, no matter how ruthless or cunning, to take anything away from her. She took charge of what mattered most to her, and the message was clear: if you mess with Rasheeda Frost, you better be ready for a fight.
So the agreement was that you get canon the third weekend of every month. Do you do that?
No, I really agree to that because the last
It's signed on paper. This is what I just said. It's not gonna ever be exactly the same. But one thing we're gonna never, ever, ever have to question or worry about is Desiree getting the love and the same treatment as all the other kids around. Always been concerned, and I've always loved him since the first day I heard from you. You don't have to hear from me because Cannon knows what's up. That's all that matters. Weird now, but you know it's not weird. So it's now all of a sudden. I've always been there since I decided to forgive him. If I forgave him, I gotta take the that comes with it, and that's Cannon. Y'all figure some out so we can.
Becomes worse, instead of just acknowledging that he made a mistake once more, Kirk has been attempting to portray himself as the victim, telling anyone who will listen that he has been unhappy in his marriage for a long time and that his affair with Jasmine was a means of escaping the problems he was having with Rashida at home. Days later, he left Rashida, and according to insiders, he even consulted his legal team for guidance on how to continue with the divorce. In my view, Rashida has allowed Kirk to be mistreated by choosing to remain rather than walk away. But she chose to stay in an interview with Essence, publicly announcing her dedication to maintaining her family, and made it apparent to Kirk that she was not leaving. People who talk about that frequently couldn't be in my position because many women haven't been in a relationship for 5 minutes, let alone 20. Therefore, you can't talk about the choices I make because, at the end of the day, it's my life, and I never let other people's opinions influence me in any way. All I did was pray, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. But if you don't like it, don't follow me on Instagram and don't comment. He's made a complete 180-degree turnaround, which is one reason our marriage has survived. It wasn't easy for me during that extremely dark time, and Kirk had to be admitted to the hospital before he realized how much he wanted Rashida back in his life. Nevertheless, Jasmine is furious over Kirk's choice to have Rashida by his side, and she has been sharing this with everyone who would listen. Kirk's request to have Rashida back has broken Jasmine's heart, but as they say, you lose them the way you gain them. Remember, this is Kirk, and he knows exactly how to manipulate both Rashida and Jasmine. Insiders revealed that Kirk had already discussed the possibility of marrying Jasmine once his divorce from Rashida was finalized. May Kirk recover quickly. It's obvious that things between Jasmine and Rashida are going to get much worse, so we're crossing our fingers that Kirk will grant his request for Rashida to accompany him. Fans have been commenting that they don't understand why Jasmine keeps throwing rocks and hiding her hands after the doctor told him that he might not make it. Having a baby by a married guy has implications. As Jasmine was aware, one of the repercussions of asking a married guy to take responsibility for something he was permitted to do was that Rashida is capable of far greater. She must live without Kirk in the event that he dies. There is no need for that disrespectful man to take control of your enjoyment after the girl kicked the dead weight to the curb. With Kirk, love yourself and let go of him. You're too lovely to be pulled down. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Kirk is with Rashida when he is sober and with Jasmine when he is intoxicated. Do you believe Rashida should forgive Kirk for everything he did to her and remain by his side at the hospital? Or do you think she has no business there since he chose to be with Jasmine instead of her?